Howdy, folks. It's another DMZ Entertainment 2.0 screencast. Today we're going to go through something that for most media center users, if you're like me, you've probably done this a couple times, but you know what? We wanted to go ahead and feature this anyway because not everyone realizes really how easy it is. And that is setting up a TV tuner. Now what I've done is again, just like always, I'm doing this on my laptop. This PC doesn't normally have a TV tuner on it because I have no need. But I've gone ahead and gotten a USB tuner that I'm going to hook up here today. Now, I've already connected it and run through that first setup because the fact is, whether you're doing it the first time or you're like adding a tuner or something, the majority of it's still the same. What's really the only thing that really changes is that you're not going to have to wait and watch my screen sit there and spin around in a circle while we wait for the Play Ready DRM to install and things like that. We're going to be able to go ahead and go right through this pretty quick. So you're going to see there's a recording here, but actually I screwed it up because I wasn't paying attention when I ran through it quick. And I told the PC that I have an antenna when I don't. So if we look here, I've gotten all Canadian stations, which is not what I have it hooked to. I have it hooked to standard cable. So this is an NTSC tuner. This is a quick setup. Now, if you have a QAM or an ATSC tuner, your setup will take a little bit longer, mainly due to the fact that you're going to have to allow your media center to scan for channels. And that can take some time. I know anytime I hook up my QAM tuner on my actual HTPC, usually takes around half an hour to run that scan. But we won't have to worry about that today. So what we're going to do is we're going to go right to settings. We're going to go to TV. And we're going to go right to set up your TV signal. Now, since this has already been set up, changing my settings is going to affect my TV recordings. It's going to stop any TV that's currently playing, including on extenders. So it's going to check and make sure you actually want to do this. I do actually want to do this, so I'm going to hit yes. So first, you're going to have to pick your region. Usually your region will already be filled in properly considering it uses your computer settings, so it's going to know where you are. You're going to have to enter your zip code again. I've been through this, so mine's already there. Then you're going to have to agree to the program guide terms of service. And yes, whether you're adding a tuner or changing your tuner configuration, what have you, you're pretty much going to have to do this every time. No big deal. So now we're going to download our TV setup data. Now, since it knows your region, this usually goes pretty quick. It shouldn't hold us up here at all. And you can see it's jumping right up there. Again, this is something that's going to happen every time you set up your television. So you don't want to add new tuners or change your tuner configuration right when you know there's a recording going on, right when you know someone in your family might be watching TV, things of that nature. I'm trying to recall if it stops recorded TV. I don't think it does. If someone's on an extender somewhere, I don't think it's going to stop stop them from watching previously recorded TV, but definitely live TV. So again, not something you want to do during the Super Bowl. Once it's got the setup data, it's going to examine my signals. Now, this is one place where, again, I did this wrong. I wasn't paying attention. I was just trying to go through it quickly to make sure everything would set up properly and before recording this. And so you have to watch. Media Center is going to see my tuner as being an analog tuner hooked to an antenna. I am not hooked to an antenna. I've got it hooked to what is here called basic cable. We get about 11 channels. That's all we want. That's all we need is basically the network channels, and that's it. So Media Center can improperly or can read those signals improperly. So when we go to the next step, we're going to have to do our setup manually. Now, Media Center recommends, as you can see, they recommend, yes, configure with these results, but we don't want to do that. We want to go to show more options. Let me configure my TV signal manually. So again, Media Center thought I had antenna. I actually have cable. I do not have a set-top box because this is standard cable. Now, this is a dual tuner. However, I've only set up one, so I'm only going to select one tuner at this point. Okay, now here's where you're going to choose your provider. Now, if you tell Media Center you have a set-top box, you actually get a lot more providers here. Obviously, I've told it I have cable. That's it. Now, if you tell it you have satellite, you're going to have a choice of satellite providers. I can tell you from experience, be very careful. There are several choices for satellite providers. Usually DirecTV, Dish Network, of course, but there will be two selections for each of those. One is your local, whatever's closest to you. The other one is a nationwide. On at least one occasion, again, not really paying attention, I've set up the nationwide provider. You're going to get most of your channels will be mapped correctly. The problem is you won't get your locals mapped correctly. So your major networks and your local channels will not be mapped correctly in that case. So you do have to be a little careful. Make sure you pay attention. I live in Malone. I have Time Warner Cable, so we're going to go with that. Do I want to set up another TV signal? No, not at this time. I don't need it. So we're going to configure one analog tuner, Malone Time Warner Cable. At this point, usually you're going to go grab guide data. Mine has already done that. It's not a big deal. It just takes a few seconds to download. We back out here. We go to the guide. Now all my guide data hopefully is updated properly. There we go. And we are online. So obviously I don't have all of these, but we can see here now TV set up. We've got live TV. Probably a little shaky on this older laptop, but it should run just fine. And we can start scheduling recordings. Now, one thing to do after this is make sure you go in, adjust your guide for what you need. When I set up Malone Time Warner Cable, I end up getting 70 channels. I don't have 70 channels. I have 11 channels, so I go and remove the ones I don't have. Like I don't get HBO. I remove HBO, and we'll do another screencast on editing your guide coming up and making sure you get everything in there. But this, again, has been another Entertainment 2.0 and DMZ podcast. Thank you all for joining me, and we will be back again soon.